The next hero character or unit bio that we're going to look at, and let me bring it up, would be and Jeremy, make sure I'm pronouncing this right. Acolarh?
I say Acolarh.
Acolarh. Okay, so the H would be
Because I
silent.
think the H is silent. Yeah, because next, so just with English and usual, it's like R is next to an H, or when an H ends a word, it's usually silent or just like a slight. But I don't know. We never we never actually got the word from whoever wrote it, so I just say Acolar.
Name pronunciation. That's important. Dadscaper,
Yeah.
what would you say?
Yeah, I'm with Jeremy. It's Acolar. I mean,
Acolar.
yeah, that's
Because
what it is.
the H at the end just kind of makes it easy to make it silent in my
For sure. And
unless you want to do the hitch at the end of Acolar.
Acolar.
I don't know if you want to do
a
that.
good,
So
when it calls for it.
Acolar.
Um,
Yeah.
so this unique hero comes from Crest of the Valkyrie exclusive set, and this is Ullar's flag. I'm sorry, I have both Ullar and Ullar because I've gone through the names with Jeremy, so I do both. But
That's that Old Norse, the Old Norse in play.
Yeah, Ullar's flag bearer here. And so this is a very exclusive miniature. Not everybody's going to have these flag bearers because they are expensive.
I've been trying to get them cheap, but I always miss out.
So Acolarh is of course under Ullar's banner or banner. My goodness. Okay, somebody stop the stream. Is an elf, a unique hero, wizard, valiant, medium, 5 height, 5 life, not a bad lifespan, move of 5 spaces, range of 1, attack of 3, defense 2, 110 point value, and has a special ability called Leaf of the Home Tree Aura. And it says when any elf you control within 8 clear sight spaces of Acolarh receives enough wounds to be destroyed, you may roll 10 Ullar Valkyrie, and that comes usually with the unit. The Ullar Valkyrie dice before removing the figure. If you roll at least 3 Ullar symbols, ignore any wounds that figure just received. Acolar's Leaf of Home Tree Aura does not affect Acolarh itself. And then as well as Ullar's Amulet. All friendly figures who follow Ullar and start their turn adjacent to Acolarh may move 2 additional spaces. So there's some healing boost. There's some movement boost for this miniature. So in the sense of value, like on the battlefield or for tournament play. Anyway, Undead Pick is saying actually bought Drake Van Ness's Acolarh off eBay a few years ago. Oh, interesting.
Nice. Wait, Drake Van Craig's son?
I have no idea. I don't know.
What?
I'm just reading.
That's wild.
What
I believe it. I mean,
Yeah, no, because Sergeant Drake Alexander, the name comes from
right.
Drake, which is Craig's son, and then I think Alexander was Rob's son. So they combined their sons' names together to form Sergeant Drake Alexander.
Interesting.
That's wild. That's a character you keep. If owned by the son of Craig. That's pretty cool though. I didn't even know he was selling Heroscape. I'm like, hey, can I have some?
So on its own
merits.
I can't. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, yes. No, you're good. Craig's son on that pick confirmed. So yes, that's very interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah, I would keep it. I would keep it.
That's a thing to be proud of.
So it's a nice looking miniature. I love the banner. I love the it's got a little knife there. By itself, I mean, this is definitely a one that you would want to synergize with for sure. Right, on its own, I mean, attack is relatively okay, and it can move around and it can hold its life. But I would say you would be something that would synergize more with healing miniatures, right? I'd say so. Yep. All right. And the character bio for Acolarh says, "Nimble fingers dance in delight. For some 2,500 years, they have spent long hours perfecting their craft. A gleeful laugh escapes from thin lips, turned upward in a smile. And this is the accumulation of his long life's work, and the elven craftsman can't help but lose his overwhelming joy. With great skill, he carves upon the fair bark of the Wayland tree. The result of his blissful task will be the leaf of the home tree. It'll be blessed and borne into battle by the valiant wizard Acolarh, and will save many an elven warrior from a treacherous end." So there we are. And let me see. Let me bring combinations and synergies. And again, link in the description below if you're watching this on YouTube. Combinations and synergies. Quintella Gwyn. Synergy. Uglinish. I always want to say uglinish. I don't know why. But there's some synergy benefits. And then for the benefit of the leaf of the home tree aura, basically all the elf units. Is that correct? It just basically it'd be good with an elf army.
Yeah, it's all elves benefit from it.
Gotcha. As well as let's see here, Ullar units, Arkmer, Emiron, Jordan, and then for C3V, let's see here.
I think Haduk would be part of that.
Yeah, Haduk, Ilaria, Corman. Let's see here, Arthur of Sherwood, Azurite Warlord, Elon Sida. Haddock, yep. Loxley, Master Lao Zin. Oh, I got Master Lao. Nottingham Brigand, Nagras Hardscale. Yeah, and then Tomb Skeletons as well. So lots of miniatures that you can link up with Acolarh. So consider it is 110 points for the army. Would this be considered if you're using an elf army, would this be considered a miniature of consideration and value?
Actually, and I've played the elf army a lot. Back in the day, I used to play them pretty frequently, and then my friends used to play them frequently. Luckily, and I think that one of the good things about his design is that he's useful, but he's not required, and that's a good thing because he's really expensive now. So that would be a really pain in the butt for anyone that wanted to field an elf army and try to get him.
Mm-hmm.
But expensive in terms of like financial, like trying to get this character. I mean, he runs. I've seen people sell them for like $500 alone.
Yeah, yes.
Like,
Wow.
yeah. So it's hard to get this character. Yeah.
I never had one.
Yeah, like I missed out, and they sold them at my local Toys R Us, and no beef with my parents, I promise, but my parents told me you're not spending $20 on one character.
How about
But
200?
it's got a bag with dice.
It's got a
I know. I was like, I
Dice
tried to
are-
convince them. I
because
tried to
dice
convince
are-
them. I'm a little kid at the time, or I say little, but kid at the time, trying to be like, but, and it just didn't work. But now I'm like, man, if only I could spend $20, because it's like 500 now. I'm like, man, I missed those $20 days.
The stuff
But,
I used to walk past in the clearance aisle, right?
You just,
you guys
the regret.
You guys are young, you don't remember that.
I mean, I still
I
regret
remember
it. I
that
still
plenty of
remember
time
the cheap Heroscape.
when Heroscape was getting liquidated in clearance out in the grocery store. Oh, I passed up on a lot of stuff. Bad idea now. Oh well.
Regret.
Yep.
Regret.
But yeah, as far as Elf Army construction goes, I do believe the way it's designed is that you probably want to stick. Old Ganesh is the most important character, right? Because he has the mind link. and the mind link is what lets you move multiple wizards in a single turn. And then you kind of build around that mind link, with Arkmer and Jordan and all of them. But Acolarh is kind of like he has a secondary value. So if you're looking for survivability, you can include him. But that's what he's boosting is your an increased chance of avoiding attacks, but isn't a character that's required for the elf army to function properly, if that makes sense. So you can still play a fully functional elf army without him. He just has the additional benefit of, here you go. Here's a are you about to die? Here's a roll to protect you from dying, kind of thing. So, which is pretty nice. But also leaving that up to chance. I know my die rolls are garbage, so I don't like to rely on it too much.
It's the downside.
I like more
wonder-
secure stuff.
A lot of die rolls.
Yeah.
The math of that roll there is not very good. It's not something you can rely on on a regular basis.
Yeah, you have to get so for context, if you don't have Ullar dice, it's the empty side of the traditional dice. So you would have to roll 3 empty die slots just to get that heal to work. So out of 10 roll, I have a roll of 10. So
for sure,
I don't know the projections of that, but it's very, very low.
Right.
So Acolarh would have been named for Al Roach.
Okay.
Okay.
Who was a Hasbro executive at the time that Craig and his team were first developing Heroscape. He was a guy inside Hasbro who was very protective of the project.
Nice.
Yeah, really nice guy. A good guy who I bumped into, not knowing who he was. I bumped into him at Gen Con. He was selling a game that he had designed called Box of Rocks, which is a superior little party game. It comes in a box like this size, and it's just a fat deck of cards. It's a great, fun trivia game that's good for any number of people if you can find a copy.
Nice.
I might find.
Yeah.
I mean, there's gonna be a link in the description below right now, but if I can find it, I'll give him a shout out and post it in a link below. When I put this on the video.
I mean, you can see him along with a bunch of old timers, including myself, but mostly people who've been in the community longer than I've been, in a quote family reunion close quote photo.
Oh yeah, that picture.
Yeah, Al Roach is in there. Anyway, he died of cancer a few years ago. It was very sad.
Okay.
Yeah. Several people in that picture are now dead, which is also sad.
Sure. Well, that's strange to hear, but at least that this miniature is still around. It still has incredible value. Not sentimental, but yeah. Well,
I will say I do find it interesting because I just looked it up that the quote on the box of rocks is "Who is smarter, you or the rocks?"
Yeah.
And I keep thinking,
great.
I was like, man, I definitely have to try this because
I gotta try and find it now.
what is the gimmick of how are the rocks answering the question?
So it's inside the box, which is like this big. Inside the box, there are basically 2 things. There's a fat deck of cards, and there are 3 rocks. The rocks are flat. 2 of the rocks have a 1 on one side and blank on the other, and the 3rd rock is blank on both sides. So you take out the cards, leave the rocks in the box, shake it, open it up. Now you have a number, you have a revealed number that's either 0, a 1, or a 2. All of those cards have trivia questions with answers that are 0, 1, or 2. So I mean, I don't know, number of U.S. presidents with number of left-handed U.S. presidents. Like I don't know what the actual number is.
Yeah.
But that's it. But it's either 0, 1, or 2. So everybody in the room can play this game together. Like Jeremy's sitting at the table with me. Jason's in the kitchen making his salad. Joe is, laying out his Heroscape cards, whatever. Everyone's hollering out, I'm pretty sure Garfield was left-handed or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
it's at least one. Right. And then like the whole room is like, all right, one. And then, whoever's looking at the card is like, two. So yeah, and then you look at what the rocks did, and the
Yeah, what
rocks
the
gave
rocks
you either
say.
0, 1, or 2, right?
And if the
And then
rocks
it's just a
right,
race. It's a race to 3. That's it, and then the game's over. It's
that's
super
great.
fun.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
incredibly
Good.
entertaining.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'll give it a shout out if there's a link or something for it for sure.
Yeah, Amazon's got it for $14 right now. It's on
Oh.
sale.
It's not bad.
Oh,
There you go.
that game works really well for like family parties and stuff. $15. I've gotten way more than $15
yeah.
for the fun out of mine.
For sure.
Nice.
That's great.
Cool stuff.
I love that.
All right, I'm gonna catch up a couple comments from Undamp Pick here, and then we'll close this looking at this hero segment. Let's see. Undamp Pick also says, I also bought his Utgar flag bearer too. Talking about Drake Van Ness, not knowing he was the one who listed them. That dude, wow.
That's the good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually really cool though.
It says she works best in an elf army if you can keep the warriors. Okay, talking about Acolarh. If you can keep the warriors of Ashra in range, they are, to quote Avatar, very hard to kill. Yeah, that might be a good synergy with warriors of Ashra for sure. That
Yeah, because the rolling the defense and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mixing Acolarh with the wizards becomes very expensive very quickly. But I think he might be more, or she might be more interesting mixed with like a Warriors of Ashra type.
For sure. And you see Warriors of Ashra being used a lot as well. So yeah, it would be good if you're so inclined to really have a interesting army with this flag bearer. If you want to put in that coin or get really really lucky. And Unnet Pick says, I thought $20 was expensive and ended up paying $60 each without dice. But that was 2 or 3 years ago now. Yeah, and these things just keep on going.
No, I've definitely seen listings for $500, and it kind of makes me cry because, yeah, I'm not spending $500 on a flag bearer. I'm sorry, y'all.
No.
Last time I went to sell some of my Heroscape stuff to turn some of my plastic money into the disc golf equipment. One of my friends was like, stop selling your stuff. It's just getting more and more valuable. Stop selling it.
And I'm going to answer whether I have this miniature or not by saying you might see Acolarh just briefly at the end of Season 3, possibly.
Oh, wait, no, spoilers! I don't want to know spoilers.
Well, I'll spoil this. It doesn't say. I mean, the character doesn't say anything. You just see them. They're just there. That's it. There's
teasers for following seasons. No,
just in a shot. Anyway,
you're killing Joe's immersion.
Where's the spoiler alert? Where is it? Where's the bell?
Let's talk about the lore of the character bio on this miniature real quick. This is just basically talking about the designing of the flag that this wizard bears. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. No, so I think it's really interesting. So this flag wasn't like if you check all the wizard the flag bearer bios, right? It was, I want to say it was Jandar's flag bearer. They mentioned that they made the flag in Valhalla, right? Like that when the Knights of Weston, they have their camp set up and they produce the banner, right? And it has the sign of the Westons as well as the sign of Jandar. But Acolar's bio specifically mentions that they carved this on Phelan. Like this was already prepared on their home world. And so he was like summoned into the world with this flag, and then Ullar placed his symbol on it. And so that's like I obviously there's an interaction there we're missing. We don't know was Acolarh in a battle and then summoned during the battle with the flag, and then they just repurposed it, or like because of its power, right? Because they're saying it took 2,000 years to learn how to make it, which is an insane amount of time, right? And they're probably playing on the concept that the elves of Phelan do have long lives,
Right.
like that. It's like an elf trope. Elves live for really long lives, and so it's like taking that in consideration. Did he bring the flag with him? And then because of that, they worked on it and they turned it into a flag that will protect the elves on Valhalla, and it still has its power and it generates the energy. But he also has not only does he have this flag that was created to protect the elves, he has Ullar's amulet, which enhances additionally all of Ullar's army instead of just the elves. So it's like there's an interesting process of elimination, kind of seeing how he became this head figure in Ullar's army. But the other mention I noticed, they mentioned the Wayland tree, right? And the Wayland tree was actually brought up in the Warriors of Ashra bio, as that's the city of Ashra is not built but grown into the Wayland trees of Phelan. So the way to describe it is that the city of Ashra is actually part of the forest itself.
Kind of like
And
Lorien.
so
Taken
yeah,
from
kind of
Lord of the Rings.
like it's in the trees. It's like they said that what was one of the lines they used? There's not a single straight line in Ashra because it's all winding pathways built into the branches, built into the trees itself, and things like that. And so I always found that like a really engaging visual of the planet of the elves and all the other mythical creatures that we know from Heroscape.
For sure.
Like it would have been really cool to see more visuals, of course, but
Right. Well, it sounds like it sounds like a take from or a nod from Tolkien almost.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of very strong hints that Phelan is, and especially with the Elven faction, that they were referencing Tolkien through designing them and kind of giving them that reference.
For sure. For sure. Well, with that, I will let that be the last word for Acolarh, right?
Acolarh.
Acolarh. Okay, yeah. See, oh darn it, and it's like name pronunciation. Okay, 101.
The H is really tricky. I like the H just throws you
Yeah,
because
it
you're
does.
like, should I pronounce it? Should
Acolarh.
I not? I don't. So in it.
Anyway, very interesting, expensive flag bearer miniature. I think it's actually one of the most beautiful designed of the flag
It's a good
bearers.
design. Yeah.
It is. It is very nice, and just the background and lore and history on it, and the possibility of using it, in a range of elf and elf warrior armies. For sure, it has that. So that has been that segment for taking a look at these OG Heroscape squads and heroes, and we will definitely be doing more in the future.